Hello. So you are not imagining things. I am, in fact, outside in January in Chicago without a coat on. I think we are in the low 50s, which might seem cold, depending on where you are from, but in Chicago in the winter, this is basically summertime for me. So it feels fantastic. Also on the rooftop deck where I garden, it always seems, I'd say about like 5, sometimes it feels 10 degrees warmer than it is on the ground. So I think if I was maybe down on the ground, I might need a coat. But what I wanted to do today is kind of show you what the garden looks like right now. I have to check in on a few things, like for example, seeing if my flower cart is broken or not because it fell over in the wind. I can tell the roof is not on. I'm just hoping that it fell out and not broke. So we'll open that up and see what that looks like. I also just thought I'd give you a look around because even though it is warm right now, not early January, late December, we had temperatures for about a week where it was below zero just without wind chill, like the actual temperature. And then with wind chill, I think it got down to like negative 20 degrees, maybe negative 30 degrees. So we did not go outside those days. There were a few pots I was nervous about them breaking, so I put burlap on. I don't know how well burlap worked for the ones that still have it on, but it did protect my pot on the front stairs. Something I'm not sure of though, and as I'm looking around, if you know of a way to tell, have my plants died from the cold before spring comes? Like, can I look at them now and see if the cold weather killed them? Or will I not know until spring when they're supposed to be blooming and they just never do? So let me know if you know how to tell that. I did ask on Instagram and it didn't seem like anybody knew a way to tell if things are dead before the spring, but I would rather be heartbroken now than heartbroken 3 or 4 months from now. So anyway, let me take you around. I still can't believe it's so nice. I definitely need to go on a walk later today. I'll show you what things look like right now. We're on the front deck, so we'll deal with the hopefully not broken cart first. Then I'll take you out to the back deck where I have my greenhouse set up. We'll do just a quick mini tour, but this raised bed right here has bulbs in it, so just looks like it's full of soil. Here I do have some pansies still down in there. I pulled the peas off the trellises, which I made from the sunflower stalks, and I just threw those down in there to disintegrate, and I've absolutely loved having these here. Not like I'm looking outside that much from these windows, but it is nice to have some winter interest. And I just think these are really pretty too. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with these. So I think I'm going to leave them up through spring for sure, but I need to pull them down kind of around May when I plant my warm weather crops because I'm going to do another round of sunflowers here. So I'll probably cut these down. I might use them as trellises for something else. I also might remove these flowers to use in arrangements just because they're really pretty. So that's that bed. Here, so this is the bed. I just laughed because it kind of looks like a mess. There were cabbages and I forget what those were that obviously aren't going to come back year after year. So I pulled those out, and again, just letting them kind of break down in this bed. I'll worry about actual clean out more in the springtime. But look how green the leaves on all these pansies still are. Like there's some other leaves that are still green, but those are the things in the mini greenhouse in the back. But I'm just very impressed. So it's been a weird winter. It was like warmer longer than usual. Then we got the super cold weather, but these are still green. I don't know. Never seen anything like it. Down here, this was empty. This is empty except for some pansies. This is empty. And then this also has bulbs in it. Over here are the 2 containers of my blueberries that I put the burlap on because these are nice pots, but I really can't move them, although I am ordering like platforms with wheels, so hopefully my husband and I can lift them up onto that and then I can move them around the deck a bit easier. But this one also still was holding its leaves. They've obviously changed color now to be brown, but they were green for the longest time. Even though this is just like a 4-foot wall, I think it does provide more protection from the weather than I was expecting because things seem to bloom earlier up here and they seem to last a bit longer. Over here is a chair I never brought in or covered, the table which I have half covered, garbage can, garbage can that I use for garden waste. And then let's see if I can remember what all these are. I think these are my 2 rhubarbs. Yes, those definitely are. I have my rose bush back there in the corner. I'd say that's a plant I'm definitely worried about surviving. Last year I lost a rose tree, I think to too much moisture because it did start to turn green, and then we got a bunch of heavy rain, and then it eventually died, and when I pulled it out, the roots were very mushy. So this one, it was too big to fit in the greenhouse, too heavy to carry downstairs. Part of the issues with gardening on a rooftop deck. So I put it here in the corner, which does still get moisture. There's a little overhang for protection, but it's not large enough to cover the whole pot, but we'll kind of see how that does. And then I have raspberry bush, which I think I'm going to relocate to the back for this garden season, and my aronia berry bush, which I also might move to the back. And that brings us to my flower cart. So I did cover it and bungee it, so I was responsible that way. We had some strong winds, and I think using the tarps just turns this into a sail. So you can see here, normally there's a roof on it, which is now that direction. So it's over here. So what I'm going to do right now is open this up, cross my fingers it's not broken. Assuming everything is fine, I'll just take the roof off and set it on the ground, probably like inside the cart. We'll see if I can do that. And then tarp it back up. So it's not broken, which is great, and the roof is actually sitting in a much better position than I thought. So I thought like the whole thing was off to the side, but this right here basically slips in here. This one slips in up here, so it's kind of just laying, I think, at a good angle. So I'm going to leave it where it's at and just rewrap it back up until maybe March, so I can put, like, I don't know, some spring flowers in there. We're on the back deck now, which for some reason feels colder than the front deck. Not cold enough for me to put on a jacket though. So I'll show you quickly what this looks like, and then what I'm going to do right now is open up the greenhouse to give it some fresh air, because I have found that so far, so I thought when I put them all in there, obviously they're not open to the elements, that I was more nervous about them drying out. I'm actually more nervous about them getting too much moisture, maybe not directly in the soil, but it's so humid in there that I don't want any issues to come from having a really humid environment inside there. So I have been opening it up when it's been over like 40, 45 degrees, which again we are right now. So I'm going to open that up and I'll close it up again at night. So let me show you what's happening out here right now. So I have my raised beds here that have tulips in it. I did have some garland that I just threw in there. I'm going to see how much breaks down before spring, and then I guess remove the rest once I need to do some cleanup. There is some wire on here, so obviously the wire I'm going to have to pull out, but I figured I would put it in there for now. It gives a little bit of green out here, which is nice. This bed is still empty, so I'll fill that up in the spring. I have my compost, which I keep forgetting to come out and turn as often as I should be. And then I have everything else stacked here. So back there is the greenhouse. So let's open it up and take a look. Alright, let me show you the plants in here, and I also have some questions to know if I might be having any issues. So in here, all the grow bags, those I'm just using as insulation, so those are empty. Hydrangea, hydrangea, hydrangea. Rosebush I just got on sale this fall. Strawberry? Yeah, strawberry back there. There's bulbs in all of the 4 gray pots. Because it's been so humid, I am a little bit nervous that the soil has been staying too moist because I watered them in and then I put them in here and I don't feel like they're getting as dry as they should be, so I'm hoping I don't lose all these bulbs, but we'll see. If the bulbs do rot and the tulips don't bloom, I do have a backup plan. So last year I went to Home Depot and they had tulips that were sprouting in the spring. So they were just tiny little sprouts, just leaves, no flowers. So I got some of those for pots that I didn't have anything in and planted those. It's more expensive. I mean, not terribly expensive, but more expensive than just getting a bunch of bulbs and not killing them over winter. But just in case you do or you didn't plant your bulbs in time, then you can go to Home Depot, at least the one by me, and get some tulips. So that is my plan for these pots if they did get too much moisture. Now the raised beds, the tulips bloomed fine last year, so I'm hoping they bloom this year, but there's no way I would ever buy that many tulip sprouts to fill the larger raised beds. Now on to some of the other things I'm worried about that I hopefully can get some of your advice on. So something else that is making me nervous, even though I don't know enough to be nervous or not, is this blueberry, that blueberry, and then these 2 petite rose bushes are still very, very green. Like, it's almost like they haven't gone dormant. Is that going to be a problem? Do I need to make sure these go dormant and they're just too warm and humid in here? Which again is surprising that this greenhouse kept things warm through like 3 or 4 days of below 0 temperatures. So let me know if that's going to be an issue. I also have the 2 tater tots back there that I really need to get planted into a larger pot, but just haven't done that yet. And then 1 dahlia tuber in there that I was storing as a test versus the other ones that we have in the garage. But that is how everything is looking in the greenhouse. So I've definitely been surprised, I think, at how insulated the greenhouse has been. I do have the furniture pushed up against it when it's closed, which definitely helps, but I mean, I was almost expecting to come out and see everything dead after the 0-degree temps. At least not seeing as much green as I am still seeing on these plants. So yeah, let me know if that's going to be an issue, if the blueberries and the rose bushes are still this green as of January. But overall, to keep things insulated, the greenhouse seems to be doing pretty well. I'll try to link down again where I got it. Again, 2 years ago, I had one that was like my height or a little bit taller, did not hold up in the wind. Because this is shorter than the wall and I had the furniture pressed up against it, I haven't had any issues with that blowing away. So it's worked out, I'd say, pretty well. It was definitely under $100. I think maybe it was $60, but again, I'll try to link that below in case you want to pick one up. When garden season starts, I will just take it down and store it, take a picture so that I hopefully remember how to put it together because I don't think I have the instructions anymore. But yeah, I think that's everything for today. That's how my garden's looking. Again, let me know any issues with those not going dormant, if there's any way I can tell some of the plants that were outside during the freezing temperatures, if they are dead or not before spring comes. But other than that, I've been kind of pretty happy with how things are holding up this winter in my garden. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.